When the first time John Saab and Jason came to the office and asked me, what is the list and what artists you are just, on your list. So they asked, but all these are they are looking very young and very unknown. So what is the reason behind to select all these artists? They are the brilliant, young, talented artists.
I think because they have not been influenced by classical or Bollywood, which are the two major influences in music, and they're sort of fairly cut off. The songs that they sing are their own. Secondly, because they've not had exposure to classical, etc., it comes out in some sort of raw form. And a lot of people like that. We've been hearing, personally, I'm sort of like a bit fed up with the same type of classical female voice. And then people tend to imitate them, and they all end up sounding roughly the same. And it's the same with the tabla player. You can have a famous guy like Zakir Hussain, and you've got 200 clones of his. And they're all copying the master. Whereas these people don't have that influence. So whatever they're coming out with is either what they've heard their father or neighbor do. And then there's a lot of room for experiment.
So if it was Juma with the poem and then
because our kind of musical backgrounds also include facilitation, we were just like, right, how are we going to do this?
So we had 1 or 2 days, and we worked led workshop activities basically. So people were sharing their own, kind of introducing themselves musically and in terms of whatever they wanted to share with each other, and we did some playing together.
Because it's such a new way of working. It's different when you can speak English and you can kind of communicate ideas and concepts, but it was just like, how is this going to happen? So Vinod came on board as kind of our interpreter and translator. Almost more, I'd say more than just a translator and interpreter. He's our bridge.
And that is the bridge between two different traditions. So I think everyone understands, they feel very happy.
I think we were looking for certain personalities as well than just music, because we felt this had to be a human interaction at heart. Otherwise we would not get soul.
We had this sort of process of elimination, and then we ended up with the musicians that we have now. But it was actually it wasn't a very nice process. It's that kind of thing of, well, we'd spent a whole day of singing together, playing together, eating together, sharing stories, laughing, crying. It was a really full-on day. And then at the end of the day, we had to sort of say, well, these are the people who are not going to be part of the project, and these are the people who are. And everybody else had to go home. So it was pretty, it wasn't nice, to be honest.
And one of the first things I told myself is that what I had noticed in Bex and Jason was a humanity as people. That they were not driven by ego as artists. And I had met a lot of artists in the UK and from abroad where the ego, their sensibility as an artist came before anything else. And I felt that wasn't the case with Jason and Bex. I felt they were the kinds of artists who would be willing to share what they knew, would be willing to have other artists stand up next to them without feeling threatened.
So we want to set the chairs so that the middle, wherever the middle is.
India is an extraordinary land and culture which has sustained itself through invasions and civilizations and changes, and developed this body of knowledge over thousands of years. And what we've experienced it in a state like Rajasthan is in the forms of arts, crafts, health practices, food practices, all the traditional knowledge that is there stands undervalued because of the adoption of modern knowledge. JVF, Jaipur Virasat Foundation, was started 7 years ago, and we started with this agenda, or this mission, that we should try and somehow influence the public mindset and the government mindset that while we develop and while we modernize, we should carry with us our traditions. And through that work, we discovered this unbelievable resource of folk music in the state of Rajasthan.
The foundation's aim is that a relook at your heritage and try and use it as a tool for development for the future. See, some of this work had been done by one or two people in the past, and they had concentrated on the musicians in Western Rajasthan. And so we started looking at other sides of Rajasthan. Rajasthan is essentially like 7 different countries, and it was before. There were princely kingdoms. So we started working around those areas. And it doesn't take long when people find out that you're interested in music. Like if we rang up one musician in a village 300 kilometers from here and told him we were coming and we'd be interested in listening to other artists from that area. Within about 2-3 days, they'd accumulate 100-odd people.